What you are about to hear is not just a recap, it's an inside report, a deep dive into a conspiracy so intricate, so deceptive, that it uses a reality television show as its primary recruitment tool. We've been piecing this together for months, corroborating details from sources who are risking everything to bring the truth to light. The story of Sumit and Jenny is not a love story. It's the public face of a sophisticated multi-million-dollar spiritual scam. If you're ready to see past the curtain and uncover the truth that's been hiding in plain sight, then hit that like button right now. Subscribe to this channel and ring the bell, because you are not going to want to miss a single update on this story. This is the exposé the Singh family never wanted you to see. Let's start with what we've been shown, the carefully curated narrative fed to us week after week. We see Sadhna, the disapproving mother, a woman seemingly obsessed with tradition and social standing. We see Sumit, the conflicted son, torn between his family's expectations and his love for an older American woman, Jenny. We see Jenny, the hopeful romantic, who gave up everything to be with the man she loves, living in a country that is not her own, constantly seeking the approval of a family that rejects her. And then there's the family astrologer, Khalid. He appears intermittently, a quirky side character delivering cryptic predictions that always seem to add another layer of drama to the family's saga. This is the show. This is the story they want you to believe. But now let's talk about the real story, the one that happens when the cameras are off. According to our sources, Sadhna Singh is not just a meddling mother-in-law. That persona is a carefully crafted character for the television audience. In the lucrative and shadowy world of online spirituality, she is known by another name, Cosmic Mother Sadhna. She is the charismatic, all-knowing, and deeply manipulative face of a sprawling online movement that promises enlightenment, inner peace, and spiritual ascension for a price. A very steep price. Her organization, the Path of Cosmic Light, isn't a humble spiritual collective. It's a highly profitable business enterprise, a digital megachurch with a global following. And its primary target market? Lonely, spiritually seeking, and financially comfortable Western women. Women exactly like Jenny. Sumit, the seemingly weak and indecisive son, is not the victim in this story. He is the engine. He is the chief operating officer of the spiritual empire. While his mother plays the part of the enlightened guru on camera, Sumit is the tech wizard, the marketing genius, and the financial architect behind the scenes. He builds the websites, manages the targeted social media ad campaigns, and sets up the complex payment processing systems that funnel money from followers across the globe into the Singh family's bank accounts. He's the one who researches and identifies potential high-value targets, individuals who are not just looking for a mantra, but are looking for a community, a purpose, a mother figure. He handles recruitment, he handles retention, he handles the money. Every tear he sheds on television, every moment of hesitation, is, according to our insiders, part of the act. It's part of a larger narrative designed to make him seem relatable, vulnerable, and human, masking the cold, calculating businessman running the operation. This brings us to the foundational lie, the original sin upon which this entire empire is built. The lie is that Sadhna Singh possesses any spiritual wisdom at all. The truth, as told by those who were there at the beginning, is far more sinister. Over a decade ago, long before any television cameras were in the picture, Sadhna was a woman of modest means and immense ambition. Through a series of social connections, she came to know of a woman named Anamika Devi. Now, Anamika was not a guru in the modern sense. She wasn't on social media. She didn't have a brand. She was a true ascetic, a genuinely gifted spiritualist and philosopher who had spent her life in quiet contemplation and study. She lived a reclusive life in a small ashram, and her wisdom attracted a small, dedicated circle of disciples who sought her guidance not for profit, but for genuine spiritual growth. Sadhna, with her innate ability to charm and manipulate, managed to ingratiate herself into this inner circle. She didn't see a teacher, she saw an opportunity. She presented herself as a devoted follower, a humble student, absorbing every word, every parable, every unique teaching that Anamika shared. She became a trusted confidant. During this time, Anamika was compiling her life's work into a series of handwritten journals. These weren't just diaries, they were manuscripts filled with profound, original spiritual philosophy, unique meditation techniques, and deeply personal parables drawn from her own life of contemplation. They were her legacy. Then, as is the way for many true ascetics, Anamika Devi decided to retreat from the world entirely. She announced to her disciples that she was entering a period of complete silence and seclusion. entrusting the care of her small ashram to her most senior followers. This was Sadhna's moment. In the chaos of Anamika's withdrawal from public life, Sadhna, the trusted friend, betrayed her master. According to a source who was a disciple at the ashram at the time, Sadhna convinced the others that for safekeeping she should hold on to the precious journals. And then she simply vanished. She and Sumit, then just a teenager but already technologically savvy, disappeared with the entire collection of Anamika Devi's life's work. They stole her identity, her voice, and her soul. This is where the character of Meera enters our story. Meera is not a character on the show. You will never see her on television because she represents the one thing the Singh family cannot control: the truth. Meera was Anamika Devi's youngest and most devoted disciple. She viewed Anamika not just as a teacher, but as a mother. She was there when Sadhna infiltrated their circle. She was there when the journals disappeared. For years, Meera and the other remaining disciples were heartbroken, believing the teachings were lost forever. They watched in quiet horror as a few years later, a woman named Cosmic Mother Sadhna began to appear online. The language was familiar, the parables were the same. The unique philosophies of their beloved teacher were being regurgitated, repackaged, and sold in expensive online seminars and webinars by the very woman who had betrayed them. Sadhna and Sumit hadn't just stolen the journals. They had copyrighted and monetized them. Meera has been on a quiet, lonely crusade ever since, a decade-long quest to find concrete, irrefutable proof to expose the Singh family and reclaim her teacher's legacy. And she has found it. The core smoking gun document in this entire conspiracy is not a leaked email or a secret recording, but the original, physical handwritten journals of Anamika Devi. Meera, through a network of loyalists, managed to track down and secure these journals, which Sadhna had carelessly discarded years ago after digitizing their contents, believing them to be worthless relics. These journals are the key. They are filled with Anamika's distinctive handwriting, her personal notes in the margins, and teachings so unique they are like a fingerprint. Teachings that Sadhna has repeated, verbatim, in her paid online courses AEs, claiming them as visions from her own enlightenment. Meera, understanding that she needed more than just anecdotal evidence, took a tremendous risk. She sought out a forensic document examiner. The analysis of the paper, the ink, the binding, it all came back with an explosive conclusion. The journals were unequivocally dated to between 15 and 20 years ago, long before Sadhna's supposed spiritual awakening, which, according to her own promotional materials, occurred only 8 years ago. The timeline is impossible. The lie is exposed by science. Now, let's turn to the astrologer, Khalid. On the show, he's a prop, a man who shows up, spouts some vaguely mystical predictions, and adds to the family's spiritual credibility. In reality, he is a crucial cog in the machine, and he's about to become the weak link that brings the whole thing crashing down. Khalid is not a revered family advisor. He is a paid actor, a struggling bit-part actor from Delhi whom Sumit hired years ago to play the role of a wise, all-seeing pandit. His job is to validate Sadhna's powers and the family's supposed spiritual destiny, both on and off the show. His predictions are not based on the stars. They are based on scripts written by Sumit. An insider has provided us with pages from these very scripts. They detail, with chilling precision, what Khalid is supposed to say in each appearance. For example, before a season where Sumit was meant to be facing financial struggles, the script for Khalid read, "Predict a period of financial turmoil for the son. Emphasize that it is a test of his spirit. This will set up the narrative for Mother Sadhna's Prosperity Consciousness webinar series next quarter." Another script, just before Jenny's visa was up for renewal, instructed him to foretell a great obstacle from a foreign land that will test the family's unity, but hint that the mother's spiritual strength will ultimately clear the path. Every single one of his on-screen appearances was a staged performance, a commercial for the cult's next product. But the Singhs made a critical mistake. They got greedy and arrogant. They started underpaying Khalid. For years, he was a loyal employee, but as the family's wealth grew into the millions, his own compensation remained insultingly low. He saw the luxury cars, the expensive trips, the designer clothes, all funded by the scam he was helping to perpetuate. He felt disrespected, but more importantly, he started to feel scared. With the family's profile rising due to the show, the legal exposure was becoming immense. He realized that if this house of cards ever came down, he wouldn't be seen as a bit-part actor. He would be seen as a co-conspirator in a massive fraud case. Feeling trapped and resentful, Khalid has, according to our top-tier source, made a decision. He has agreed to an interview, a secretly recorded on-the-record interview with an investigative journalist. In this recording, which is currently being held in a secure location, Khalid admits everything. He admits he's an actor. He admits the predictions are fake. He turns over years' worth of scripts, emails, and text messages from Sumit, detailing the entire fraudulent operation from the very beginning. This testimony is not just a crack in the foundation, it's a stick of dynamite. It transforms the narrative from a case of intellectual property theft into a criminal conspiracy. This brings us to the escalating legal threat that is, right now, closing in on the Singh family. Armed with the forensic analysis of the journals and a mountain of digital evidence comparing Anamika's stolen work to Sadhna's commercial products, Mira has finally taken action. She has filed a massive civil lawsuit on behalf of her secluded teacher. The suit alleges intellectual property theft, fraud, and defamation. It seeks not only millions in damages, but also a public injunction to force Sadhna and Sumit to cease using the stolen teachings and to shut down their entire online operation. The filing of this lawsuit has been the catalyst for everything else. It has acted as a beacon for other victims. Former high-level followers of Cosmic Mother Sadhna, people who paid tens of thousands, some even hundreds of thousands of dollars for exclusive one-on-one spiritual coaching, have started coming forward. They are now providing testimony, sharing their stories of financial and emotional manipulation. They describe a classic cult-like structure: isolation from family, demands of absolute loyalty, and the constant pressure to spend more and more money to achieve higher levels of enlightenment. One former follower, a wealthy widow from California, claims she was scammed out of over $250,000 for a soul contract cleansing that Sadhna promised would connect her with her deceased husband. The sheer volume of these claims, combined with the bombshell evidence provided by the astrologer's secret testimony, has elevated this from a civil matter to something far more serious. We have confirmed through sources within the Indian legal system that a criminal investigation has been launched. The charges being considered are not minor. They include large-scale fraud, conspiracy, and potentially charges under organized crime statutes. The authorities are now looking at the Singh family not as reality TV stars, but as the heads of a criminal enterprise that has preyed on vulnerable people for over a decade. This is the web of deceit that has been spun around the story we see on our screens, a web that uses spirituality as bait and reality television as its amplifier. And at the very center of this web, living in the headquarters of this spiritual scam, is Jenny. This forces us to ask the most uncomfortable question of all. After all this time, after living in that house, after witnessing the dynamics day in and day out, what is Jenny's role in all of this? Is she simply a victim? It's an easy and compelling narrative. A woman who was targeted by Sumit, a master of online manipulation, from the very beginning. Was she catfished not just with a fake photo, but with a fake life, a fake spiritual calling? She was lonely, looking for an escape, for a grand romantic adventure. Sumit offered her that. Once she arrived in India, she was isolated. She didn't have a support system. She was financially and emotionally dependent on Sumit and his family. It's the perfect environment for indoctrination, for manipulation. Perhaps she sees the inconsistencies, the red flags, but is too deep in, too afraid to admit the truth to herself. To admit that the love of her life is a lie would mean admitting the last decade of her own life has been a waste. So she plays along, convincing herself that Sadhna's controlling nature is just cultural differences, that the family's strange obsession with money and appearances is just part of the deal. She is, in this scenario, the ultimate victim, a prisoner in a gilded cage she helped build. Or is there a more disturbing possibility? Is Jenny a willing participant? Is she a co-conspirator? Think about it. She lives in the house where this operation is run. She must see the equipment, hear the phone calls, witness the production of the online content. How could she not know that Cosmic Mother Sadhna is a business? Her very presence on a global television show provides the cult with its most powerful marketing tool, legitimacy. She is the Western disciple, the proof that their spiritual path works, that it can attract and keep a follower from the most coveted demographic. Her on-screen struggles with Sadhna are not a genuine conflict. They are a perfectly crafted drama that keeps viewers hooked and keeps the family in the spotlight. Every tear, every fight is a performance for the cameras that ultimately serves to promote the brand. Perhaps Jenny, tired of her life in America, saw this as her ticket. A ticket to a life of drama, relevance, and, let's not forget, a share of the profits. Maybe she's not the victim. Maybe she's the star of the show, in more ways than one. The entire structure of their lives, as presented on television, now looks less like a dysfunctional family and more like a corporate hierarchy. Sadhna is the CEO and public face. Sumit is the COO, managing operations. And Jenny, she's the head of marketing and public relations. Her role is to be the relatable, sympathetic entry point for a global audience of potential customers. The question is whether she's doing it unknowingly as a pawn or knowingly as a partner. This is the central mystery that remains. We have uncovered the what, the how, and the why of the Singh family's fraudulent empire. But the question of Jenny's complicity hangs in the air, a final, explosive piece of the puzzle. The evidence points in both directions, and the truth may be more complex and darker than we can imagine. The line between victim and accomplice can be perilously thin, especially when love, money, and a desperate desire for a new life are all thrown into the mix. This is no longer just a television show. It's a crime scene, and the investigation is just beginning. Let's go deeper. The web we're untangling is not just about a stolen book and a fake astrologer. It's a masterclass in psychological manipulation and digital deception, and every single person who has watched this family on television has, unknowingly, been a witness to the crime. To truly understand the scale of this, we need to dissect the machine itself, the entity known as the Path of Cosmic Light. On the surface, it's beautiful. The website is a wash of soft pastels, lotus flowers, and serene images of Sadhna looking beatific. The marketing copy is filled with words like authenticity, transformation, vibration, and source energy. It's a perfectly calibrated siren song for the spiritually adrift. This is Sumit's genius. He understands the modern spiritual marketplace better than anyone. He knows the pain points, loneliness, lack of purpose, fear of aging, grief. He built a digital dragnet to catch people who type these feelings into their search bars. The process is a classic sales funnel, refined to a razor's edge. It begins with the free content, the top of the funnel. This is where the reality show is so critical. Every dramatic scene, every tearful confession, every seemingly profound piece of advice from Sadhna is clipped, subtitled, and blasted across Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. Sumit's army of bots and a few low-paid virtual assistants then identify and engage with people who comment. Someone posts, "I wish my mother-in-law was as wise as Sadhna," and within an hour, they receive a friendly direct message. "We saw your beautiful comment. If you resonate with Cosmic Mother Sadhna's energy, you might enjoy her free guided meditation on releasing family tension." Click, the hook is set. That free meditation requires an email address. Now you're on the list, you're in the ecosystem. The next day you get an email, not a hard sell. It's a personal-sounding letter from Sadhna, sharing a parable about a river and a stone, a story lifted directly from page 87 of Anamika Devi's stolen journal. At the bottom, there's a small link. This week only. Join our Foundations of Light webinar. Discover your soul's purpose. Just $49. It seems so reasonable. Less than the cost of dinner out, so thousands of people signed up. The webinar is Sumit's masterpiece of smoke and mirrors. It's a pre-recorded video of Sadhna, expertly edited, giving vague but inspiring platitudes. She looks directly into the camera, her voice calm and hypnotic. She tells you that you are a divine being of light, that your struggles are just illusions, that the universe has brought you to her for a reason. During the pre-recorded video, a live chat box scrolls with messages managed by Sumit and his team. "Sadhna, you changed my life. I feel the energy from London. Thank you, Cosmic Mother." These are kuwatai, according to our sources, mostly fake, generated by bots or paid staff to create a sense of overwhelming social proof. At the end of the webinar, the real sales pitch begins. An offer for the Cosmic Clarity Program, a 6-week online course for $2,500. It promises to help you align your chakras, manifest abundance, and clear ancestral trauma. They offer payment plans. They create a sense of urgency. The first 50 people to sign up will receive a personally blessed mantra from Mother Sadhna. The mantra, of course, is a generic audio file Sumit sends out. But hundreds of people, high on the emotional rush of the webinar, sign up. And just like that, the family has made $250,000 in 90 minutes from a pre-recorded video. This is just the beginning of the rabbit hole. Once you're in the $2,500 course, the upselling becomes relentless. You're encouraged to buy vibrational attuned crystals from their online store, cheap stones bought in bulk and marked up 5,000%. You're pressured to sign up for advanced courses. The Quantum Manifestation course for $5,000. The Soul Mastery program for $10,000 for the truly wealthy. The high-value targets Sumit calls whales. There's the Divine Inner Circle. This costs $50,000 a year. For this, you get a private monthly group call with Sadhna, with 30 other people, and a one-on-one soul reading. Let's talk about those readings. Our source, a former high-level employee in Sumit's operation, has described the process in detail. When a whale purchases a soul reading, Sumit's team goes to work. They perform a deep dive, forensic-level background check on the person. They scour their social media for every detail. Family members' names, pets' names, recent vacations, fears they've expressed, dreams they've shared. They find them on grief forums, divorce support groups, and business networking sites. They build a complete psychological profile. This dossier is then condensed into a one-page brief for Sadhna. So when a woman from Arizona named Sarah, who just lost her mother to cancer and is worried about her son's new girlfriend, gets on a Zoom call with Sadhna, she is amazed. Sadhna closes her eyes and says, "The spirits are showing me a gentle maternal energy, a flower, a lily perhaps. She wants you to know she is at peace, but she also shows me a blockage in your heart concerning the next generation, a fear of letting go of your son." Sarah breaks down in tears. It's a miracle. Sadhna knows everything. But Sadhna doesn't know anything. She's just reading a script prepared by Sumit, a cold reading made hot by modern surveillance. This is the con. It's not spiritual, it's informational. It's a data-driven deception. And the victims are not fools. They are intelligent, often successful people who are in a moment of profound vulnerability. We spoke with a woman, we'll call her Eleanor, a retired surgeon from Miami. Her husband of 40 years had passed away. She was adrift in grief. She found one of Sadhna's videos on YouTube in the middle of the night. It felt like a lifeline. Over the next 2 years, Eleanor spent over $300,000 on the path of cosmic light. She bought every course. She flew to India for a private retreat, which cost her $75,000, where she only got to spend 30 minutes with Sadhna, who seemed distracted and cold. "She kept looking at her phone," Eleanor told us, her voice breaking. "I was just a number to them, a source of funding. She would channel my late husband, Robert. He would tell me that my spiritual path required me to be generous. He would tell me that Mother Sadhna needed my support to spread her light in the world. How convenient that a dead man was so concerned with her cash flow." Eleanor's story is not unique. The lawsuit filed by Mira has opened the floodgates. There's a former tech executive from London who was convinced to liquidate his stock portfolio to fund a spiritual center in Sadhna's name that was never built. There's a woman from Sydney who was told that her daughter's chronic illness could be cured if she paid for a series of distant energy healings at $1,000 a session. The cruelty is breathtaking. They don't just take the money, they take hope. They monetize grief, sickness, and despair. Let's go back to Khalid, the astrologer. His recorded confession, which we have been told runs over 4 hours long, is the Rosetta Stone for this entire conspiracy. He lays it all out. He explains how Sumit would feed him information about the show's storylines weeks in advance. Before the season where Sumit and Jenny were fighting about moving to a new apartment, Khalid was given a script. It read, "Predict that their living situation is cosmically unstable. Use the metaphor of a house built on sand. This will create tension for the viewers and validate Sadhna's later advice that they need to listen to her." Khalid describes the first time he met Sadhna in person, off camera. He was expecting a serene, spiritual woman. Instead, he met a shrewd, demanding businesswoman. "She did not talk about the stars," he says in the recording. "She talked about market shares. She asked me if my brand would appeal to American women over 50. She was calculating the return on investment of hiring me." He even details how Sumit used him to manipulate Jenny directly. Before Jenny's first trip back to America after moving, Khalid was instructed to have a session with her. Sumit gave him a specific instruction. "Tell her you see a great darkness if she stays in America too long. Tell her that her destiny, her dharma, is tied to Sumit and to India. We need to make sure she comes back." It was psychological warfare disguised as spiritual guidance. The astrologer's confession also provides a direct link between the television show and the cult's finances. He confirms that after every one of his appearances aired, Sumit would track the analytics. He'd see a spike in website traffic and webinar signups. The show was the commercial. Khalid's appearances were the celebrity endorsements. He was the paid actor, endorsing another paid actor. The whole thing was a performance, a play staged for an audience of potential customers. So, where is the money? Sumit is far too clever to have it all sitting in a single Indian bank account. Our sources point to a complex web of shell corporations and offshore accounts. The money from a webinar in the US is routed through a payment processor in Delaware, then to a holding company in Cyprus, before being funneled into real estate investments in Dubai. It's a labyrinth designed to be untraceable. This isn't some small-time family scam. It's a sophisticated international money laundering operation built on the back of a stolen spiritual identity. The criminal investigation is not just looking at fraud, it's following the money, and that trail leads all over the globe. Now, with all this information, we must look again at the scenes we've watched for years. Every family dinner, every argument, every trip to the market is now tainted. It's impossible to see it as real anymore. When Sadhna cries about Sumit marrying an older woman, is she really upset about social traditions? Or is she angry that her business partner is distracted, that his messy personal life could jeopardize the brand? When Sumit and Jenny argue about money, is it the normal stress of a couple? Or is Jenny perhaps starting to ask questions? Sumit, where did we get the money for this new car? Your call center job can't possibly pay for this. And what does he tell her? How long can he keep the lie going? This forces us back to the central, agonizing question of Jenny. Let's analyze the two possibilities as if they were a criminal case. Theory A. The prosecution argues Jenny is a knowing accomplice. The evidence, motive, means, and opportunity. Her motive. She was unhappy with her life in America, in a dead-end job, and she wanted an escape, a life of adventure and comfort. Sumit offered her that. Her means. Her status as an American on an international TV show. She is the key that unlocks the Western market. Without her, the story is just about an Indian family. With her, it's an international drama that draws in the exact demographic they want to target. Her opportunity? She has lived in the nerve center of the operation for years. She has seen Sumit on his computer day and night. She has seen the money flow in, money that could never be explained by a normal job. The prosecution would argue that her claims of ignorance are simply not credible. She is, at best, willfully blind, and at worst, a full partner in the deception. Her role, they'd say, is to be the relatable victim, the audience's stand-in, which makes the whole scam feel more authentic and trustworthy. She's not just in the cult, she's part of the recruitment team. Theory B. The defense argues Jenny is the ultimate victim. They would paint a picture of a woman who is targeted, isolated, and systematically brainwashed. They would argue that Sumit is a master manipulator, a pathological liar who has been gaslighting her from day one. He told her his family was traditionally wealthy. He told her he ran a digital marketing company that helped life coaches. He created a bubble around her. She has no friends in India except for people the family controls. She doesn't speak the language fluently. She is completely dependent on Sumit for everything. The defense would argue that her on-screen fights with Sadhna are real to her. She really believes she is fighting for her husband's love against a meddling mother-in-law, because she is incapable of seeing the larger, more sinister play she is a pawn in. To accept that her entire life and marriage is a lie would be to shatter her psyche, so she clings to the fiction, a desperate act of self-preservation. She is a prisoner who has fallen in love with her captors. The truth is likely somewhere in the murky gray area between these two poles. But as the legal walls close in, Jenny will be forced to choose a side. Will she stand by her husband and his family, doubling down on the lie and risking criminal charges as a co-conspirator? Or will she finally see the truth, turning state's witness and becoming the person who could bring the entire empire crashing down from the inside? Her testimony could be even more powerful than the astrologer's. She's not just an employee, she's family. She knows where the bodies are buried. This is a web of deceit that uses spirituality to prey on the vulnerable. Jenny is living in the headquarters of a spiritual scam. Is she a victim, or do you think she's a willing participant in the cult? Share your explosive theory in the comments.